Amid withdrawals, Binance CEO warns of bumpy months ahead. Binance founder Changpeng Zhao, said, has reportedly told staff to expect some difficult months as the leading cryptocurrency exchange is seeing customer withdrawals. The warning comes while the crypto industry is facing challenges after high-profile bankruptcies and amid tightening regulations. A report by Reuters about an investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice into Binance was also a factor in investors' nervousness, according to Andrew Thurman, content lead for Nansen, who commented on the outflow for CNN.
While CZ took to Twitter Spaces and said that 99% of people who self-custody will lose their crypto. He said holding your own crypto is not risk-free. He made these statements just hours after it was reported that he warned staff to expect turbulent times ahead. You'll remember yesterday we reported that Binance saw outflows of more than $900 million earlier this week as customers are rushing to self-custody, given what's happening in the industry. Zach, I'm throwing it back to you.
All right. Well, yeah, I wasn't here on this basis, so I don't know what additional context was uttered around these words, but he is right in spirit, if at least not in data point, right? These things are all about trade-offs. Holding your own coins has its trade-offs. We've all seen the story about crypto millionaires rummaging through the dump, looking for old hard drives that hold tons and tons of Bitcoin from the early days that they weren't able to recover, right? That's a trade-off. You have to be responsible enough to be your own bank. Storing your crypto on an exchange is also a trade-off. You're entrusting someone not to pull an FTX on you. Both these things are trade-offs, and I think if he was situating these remarks in the context of that conversation, I'm all for it. As for the memo that was reported and confirmed by CoinDesk earlier today, yeah, we've seen these before. These are sort of the, calming some frayed nerves within big organizations, and let's see what happens. This is an unfolding situation. So far, things seem to be holding up with Binance. We saw those massive outflows in the last day or two. We talked about that on the show yesterday. We've seen some inflows in the other direction coming back onto the platform. We're going to see how this ultimately pans out. But Binance is certainly being closely watched right now as it relates to how people are engaging with this big centralized exchange, which remains a huge force in the world of crypto. So this is certainly one to watch. This memo is interesting, as are the comments about self-custody, but it really comes down to optionality and trade-offs. We talk about it time and time again, and I think that's at the root of some of these comments. Wendy, throwing it to you.
So I want to actually separate Binance from the equation and really look at what he said. What he said is self-custody is hard, and it is very hard because a lot of people are not able or capable of taking responsibility for their actions. And if you transfer cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever it is, to cold storage and you don't practice good OPSEC, if you don't write down your seed phrase, if you have poor practices, you can lose your crypto. So a lot of people decided to use centralized exchanges because they thought that they were safe. They thought that they're licensed and regulated in whatever place that you were in. That was the narrative that was kind of being pushed. So I do agree with what he said. However, I do recommend that people learn some of these safe practices and custody their own coins, or at least start practicing to, because it's coming to a time where we're kind of going into battle with a lot of the regulators, and who knows what's going to be left in the next couple of years.
Okay, I didn't listen to the Twitter Spaces, and so everyone just come at me. But am I the only person that thinks this is very opportunistic after $900 million leaves the platform? That's easy as like, it's not as easy as you think. It's pretty hard, guys. You guys should just keep your money on Binance because it's just going to be safer here. Do not trust yourself. Your money's going to go missing. It's going to end up in a garbage dump. Someone's going to steal your seed phrase. Binance is safe. I think it was opportunistic, and that's all I have to say. Will.
I think that's a highly fair point. I say thumbs up to that.
Well, okay. Let's put, you guys know the midwit meme, right? So we have like the little bell curve here. So I think that there's a little bit of this here, right? Yes, on one side, it is probably easier to hold all your assets on an exchange and not to move them off there. And you're basically the idea that, hey, yeah, we should trust an exchange because it's going to have better security than me. I'm not going to get hit by a wrench and someone's going to steal my seed phrase. In the middle of the bell curve, we kind of have this idea of, they're just opportunistic. They're trying to take my assets and hold up their exchange. So I think there's a little bit of that going on here. And I apologize for explaining a meme live on TV. That's a little bit unfair, but I think that is a fair point when we're looking at CZ's method here, because it is a little bit true. There's a little truth in everything he's saying, right? Like maybe you don't want to hold assets on Binance because maybe it's just, perpetuating a conversation which we're seeing on Twitter right now, which is that Binance is quote unquote insolvent. That's speculation and FUD. We don't really know anything about it, but that is a conversation on Twitter right now. And that's a good background and context for what's happening on Binance. On the other side of the conversation, crypto has a unique ability to hold your own keys, hold your own coins, and you should learn self-custody. It's getting easier day by day, right? We just talked about that new Ledger product about a month ago. It's a pretty slick product, and I think people are going to start